Good morning, Rabbi Sai. You know what that special ah is for? Shmuley Weisfish is in the house. Shmuley's been with us since what age? 10, 11 years old. Since the beginning of Brachas? Where? In the middle of Shabbos. And now he came with his hat all the way from Manchester. Unbelievable, with his father and his brother. Rabbi Avram, what are you doing all the way over there? No? We have other guests from Manchester. Nachama, what's your name? Loud. Hassel? Your son-in-law. Also from Manchester, with your child. Who do you have in the back over there? Tzaddik. Shlomo Braun from Asatmer, right? I see from the hat. Fourth generation. So what are you doing in the back? You have to sit next to me. Over here. I have a seat right over here for you. Kimani. Rabbi say we went from Lakewood every day to Satmar every day. It's working out great. I want to start with the sponsors because there's two sponsors here that have emails. So I'll start with them. The Koil is sponsored hatzlacha kol mishpachas MDY by Ahron Fraiman, Lzchus, continued parnasah, siyadta, dishmaya, and hatzlacha rebelli. Parnasah chodesh by the Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood, New Jersey, because Torah is the best segulah. Parnasah chodesh, lili nishmas, chayo bas Yosef. And now, Shalom Aleichem. How are you? Thank you for coming all the way from Barapag. Lzchus. By Mazel Tov to Jake and Michal Lebovic on the birth of their first son. He absorbed the daf daily while his mother. We know he was listening because he would kick when Rebelli said, may Midas Hashem grow up to be a chacham, Yerie Shomaim, and Baal Midos, and do the daf. And we have a picture of the kid coming up by ShaulE Wassertheil, 9th niece of Sivan, in memory of his wife, Edna bas Moshe Menachem, OB'M, 12 months, first yard site will be the test Tammuz. And a special refuah shlema for Rachel Bas, starting new siyadta. Rabbi Sai, in just 30 days, we are starting Masechtas Kesubos. And this time, I know we all are going to go crazy. We're going to get all those 1,500 people that dropped off during Yevamos. It's going to be a lot of work, but we're going to do it. I have a surprise. I'm super excited. Something new, brand new, that it's happening. Be'ez Hashem, in the next few days, I'm going to announce. But starting today, 30 days, Koydem Achag, tell your friends about this unbelievable Masechtas Kesubos. It's a very, very geshmaka Masechta. It's called Shas Katan. It has so many sugis. It's all over Shas. You know that Masechta, you know it all. All those guys, I was scared and fell off the bandwagon. Maybe it was my fault on Daf Beis with those terrible charts I made. I don't know what it was, but even my own two sons fell off. So I know there are a lot of youngsters that fell off. We're going to get them all back, Be'ez Hashem, but everybody needs to help out. Everybody, including you, Mendy. Rabbi, I want to read to you an amazing, powerful email I just got right before I got here. It brought tears to my eyes. Dear Rebelli, it's been 20 years since I felt, not that he left yeshiva and didn't learn anything, this is different. 20 years since I felt a real elevation on Shavuos. Ever since I left yeshiva, I was always had the feeling of either I missed an opportunity or hypocrisy. Yeah? That's easy. Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. On Shavuos. Of course, hypocrisy. No. On Shavuos morning, after going to shul at night, only to fall asleep on the tikkun or listening to the shir, despite Red Bull, 5-hour energy, or multiple black coffees, I usually give up around 2 a.m. and go home to sleep and feel empty the next morning in shul. Baruch Hashem, this year was different. I found myself excited for the 4 or 5 hours to catch up on the 3 blot I was behind. With seltzer, not Nachman, with seltzer as my drink of choice, my Bachar, his kid. Riches. No. Yeah. During my choice, the Bachrim saw their father sit and learn till Alois without even once nodding off. in shul the next morning at the very end of Akdamis when we said, Tzvi va'atrim ban mumasalon eraisa, the tears in my eyes were the first for me. This genuine feeling was something very new to me. For the first time, I felt that my personal Kabbalah Satire was for real. I brought along 6.5 mesechtes to prove it. Unbelievable. What a powerful email. I wrote along a commitment to the shir that despite many tries before, never held more than a few weeks. I can't thank you enough for giving me the most meaningful shvuos I've had in a very long time. P.S. I was up to date by the end of the night, Baruch Hashem. Moshe Braun, Muncie. Listen, if you have another good shmaka story about shvuos, please send it in. Anybody that did the 10 daf chazara or something. Now, this is back to ShaulE Wassertheil. Rebelli, it was great to see the Wassertheil. Hypocrisy. It was great to see the guys from Kiryas Yoel who signed up at our booth at that Gouda convention. They said they were giving out Gemaras. I don't know. Okay, fine. He signed them up. I'm finishing a Sefer Torah in my wife's memory on her first yard. I would love if you write a letter. I only do chalakas. I don't do letters in Sefer Torah anymore. If you would write a letter in the Sefer Torah, we're coming for 48 hours next week to pick it up and give a handful of rabbanim to have letters filled in. Okay. This is by Warren Carlos. Need I say more? It says learning at work. Obviously not in the cheshbon of work, but he says learning the daf at work when it's quiet. Once again, thank you for infusing us with such a deep connection to Torah and the daf. Kol tov. Givaldi. Oh, and here just a short note because we had a shaila. Is it hefker bezin hefker or hefker bezin haya hefker? And he says Rav David Cohen spoke out recently that haya is a censor's edition intended to make the point that while Jewish courts could once have the power of hefker, but no longer. That's what Rav David Cohen said.
He said the same thing. He said it was a census.
Censor, okay. And here's the baby that we're talking about with the MDY gear, Fashteitza. Please see Jake's MDY baby already wrapped up in merch. Be well, Yaakov. We do have an MDY pacifier, you know that. And here is Pinkas Akilov picking up the very first ever Rabbi Isai, MDY Shas directly from Art Scroll. The whole entire Shas with a custom MDY logo, picture with our sales rep Yosef Kass, who arranged the custom MDY logo. And Rabbi Isai, here we go. So, we are holding Daf Tzadik, today's Daf Tzadik Gimel. We're holding all the way on the bottom of Tzadik Beis, Amud Beis. V Rebbe Akiva, it's 2 lines before the bottom. So if you look at the chart, just to go over the sugya real quickly. So if you look at the chart, the one on the screen. Yeah, thank you. Rabbi Yanai says a statement. Kiddushin it's not typhus on a Yevama. You can't do Kiddushin to Yevama. So Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Yanai, my Rebbe, he was Rabbi Yochanan's Rebbe. What do you mean Chadash? It's a Mefurish Mishnah. It says, if somebody tells a woman, I want to marry you, but let's first wait until the Yavam does chalitza on you. Eina mekudeshes. Why? Because it's davar shalei balaylam. It's something that doesn't exist yet. So if it doesn't exist, then it doesn't work. Davar shalei balaylam. You can't, it's not in the world. How could you? She's not available. But if you say that Kiddushin is typhus on a Yevama, so it's right here, it's available right now. So you see from this Mishnah that it's not available. Kiddushin doesn't work on a Yevama. So Rish Lakish says, but wait a minute, and this is where we're holding basically, wait a minute, maybe the whole Mishnah is going according to Rebbe Akiva. That says the reason why it doesn't work is because it's a lav. It's a lav for somebody else that's not a Yavam to marry a Yevama. And that's why the Kiddushin are not chal. So the Gemara says now, but wait a minute. According to Rebbe Akiva, it would work. Why? Because according to Rebbe Akiva, Adam makne davar shlei balaylam. It would work. The Mishnah can't be Rebbe Akiva. So Rish Lakish is wrong. And now today's sugya, the whole sugya, we're going to see whether or not who holds Adam makne davar shlei balaylam. Amazing chidah. Rabbi said amazing. You have to think about what he says in the beginning. The Chidah says that sometimes we use up our gashmias in this world. Let's say somebody is supposed to, win $1 million. if a person fantasizes about that $1 million and he thinks to himself, oh, I won the $1 million and I'll do this and this and this and that, sometimes you use it up, so to speak. You steal your own gashmis by thinking, by dreaming about it. That's what he says. You're supposed to get a Tesla and you dream about driving that Tesla, you don't get it at that. Or a Porsche, and then the guy takes it back, a plane, whatever. So he says in Mashal, he says there's once a woman who was very poor. She was an almana, and she came home with an egg. And she goes to her daughter, and she tells her daughter, look at this egg. She puts it on her head, and she says, this egg, and her daughter says, what, we're going to eat it now? We're going to have a meal? She says, no. This egg that's on my head, I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it under a chicken. Not my chicken, obviously she doesn't have a chicken, but I'm going to borrow a chicken, and this egg is going to hatch, and then we're going to have another chicken. She says, oh, we're going to eat a chicken? No. We're going to have the chicken, and that chicken's going to lay more eggs, and then we're going to have a lot of eggs and a lot of chickens, and a lot of chickens, then we're going to have goats, a lot of goats, and a whole story. She keeps on going and going, and then we're going to have cows, a lot of cows, and then we're going to become very wealthy because we're going to sell some of the cows and buy some real estate, big buildings, until the point where the king is going to be so impressed with me, he's going to invite me. And when I go to the king, I'm going to bow to the king like this, and the egg falls off her head and smashes on the floor. And that, Rabbi Isai, is davar shloi b'laylam. If you think to yourself, oh, I have this, and it's going to be like that, don't dream. If it's not here, b'chush, you can't do anything with it. If you don't have an available Yevama, you can't process Kiddushin. It's machlokes. And now, the Gemara says, V'ire b'kiva. So the Gemara talks to Rish Lakish. You're telling me that the Mishnah might be Rebbe Akiva. And Rebbe Akiva holds that the reason why this you can't be Mekadosh Sivama is because Kiddushin is not Teifes. According to Rebbe Akiva, to work, he holds you could be kind of something that doesn't exist. This is not. If a wife, Taf of Tzadik Gimel Amud Aleph, if a wife tells her husband, I'm being noider, that all my work shouldn't go to you, ein tzarich lahafer. You don't have to worry about it. He doesn't have to make hataras nadarim. Why? Because she has no right to deny him the Maisei Yadayim. It's his. Rebbe Akiva Oimer Yofer. Rebbe Akiva says, no, there's a problem here. Shemot hadif olav yoisim in aroyloi. So, even though it's davar shaloi b'laylam, you're talking about Maisei Yadayim. Her income that she's going to make in the future, says Rebbe Akiva, you have to be concerned about it. Now, there's two things that you do hataras nadarim for. You may for a nether of a wife. One is inu nefesh, if it bothers the wife, and the other is if it's dvarim shebeinu leveina, if it creates a fight between the two of them. So says Rebbe Akiva, you have to be mefer. Why? Because maybe she's going to make more income than she owes you. And for that amount, the extra, you have to be mefer today. So you see, he's concerned about things that don't even exist, things in the future, and for that, you're mefer. So he holds, Adam mak the davar shaloi b'layla. Says the Gemara, Ha'it ma'ala, that's not the case. There's another reason. She's being makdish her own hands. She's not being makdish the future income. She's makdish her hand that exists right now, that she has the right to do. She's saying that she be kadosh to Hashem. Misnu ba'alma. Okay. Very good. Fine. It explains you have to be mefer. The reason why he's being mefer is because she might earn more. She might go into because it's kaddish and not kaddish. You have to be concerned with the kedusha that exists, and he might steal from hegdish. You have to be mefer right away, so he doesn't touch anything from hegdish. Okay. Now you're telling me concerning davar shaloi b'laylam. Now we're going to bring a bunch of Manda Amrim, including Rebbe Akiva. The last one is Rebbe Akiva. In other words, from generation to generation, we have these Tanoim that hold that Adam Makne Davar Shlei Bala Olam. You're telling me that Rebbe Akiva perhaps doesn't hold Adam Makne Davar Shlei Bala Olam. The reason why over there he says that you have to be made for the nether is because she said that her hands are Kaddish. But really, Rebbe Akiva doesn't hold of Adam Makne Davar Shlei Bala Olam. I'm going to prove to you, Upliga the Rav Nachman, he argues that Rebbe Akiva does hold Adam Makne Davar Shlei Bala Olam. So now we're going to bring these Manda Amrim, and each one we're going to show a case of Davar Shlei Bala Olam pretty much until the end of today. A little bit of a sugya, other than that, easy stuff. Rav Huna Kirav. Rav Huna got it from Rav. These are Amoraim. V'Rav Rabbi Yana. And Rav got it from Rabbi Yana, his Rebbe. We just said Rabbi Yana was Rabbi Yochanan's Rebbe, right? So they were in the same generation. Rav and Rabbi Yochanan. Rav was in Baal, Rabbi Yochanan was in Shoal. Rav ki Rabbi Yana. Rabbi Yana ki Rabbi Chia. And Rabbi Yana got it from his Rebbe, Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia ki Rebbe. And Rabbi Chia got it from the author of the Mishnah, Rebbe. The Rebbe, who was Rebbe's Rebbe? Rebbe Meir. Rebbe Meir ki Rebbe Eliezer Yaakov. This is interesting. They talk about it. Because we know that one of the 5 Talmidim of Rebbe Akiva was Rebbe Meir. But Rebbe Meir got it from Rebbe Eliezer Yaakov. And he, Rebbe Eliezer Yaakov, ki Rebbe Akiva. And all of them hold the Omar Adam Makne Davar Shlei Bala Olam. Now it's interesting, they say all the way at the end of the Sugya, Shulchan Aruch paskins, that Ein Adam Makne Davar Shlei Bala Olam. You can't sell fruit that don't exist. All the fruit that's going to come out of my tree in 3 months from now is yours. You can't do it. And the raya is from this, sort of. Because when you bring a lot of Manda Amrim to prove a point, that means the halacha is not like that. Okay? Adam Makne Davar Shlei Bala Olam. I had to fire that guy, the writer, the shir from the guy that writes the shir, the jokes for the shir. I got an English guy instead. It's gonna be mamish humorous from now on. Guy from Manchester. Oh, you know, Maisa Shahaya, I thought I didn't give you a watch. So I put one in my pocket, and then I got an email from your father. He says, you broke your watch, so here's another one. It's an official MDY watch. Very limited edition from like 2 years ago. It's merch. It's merch right over here. The original, like one of the first merch we ever had.
Does the logo stay on?
I don't know, I didn't test it. Does it?
No.
So you better like put some lacquer on it. Here, it comes with a box. The whole zone. Unbelievable. He's wearing it. Well, don't put it on until you make sure the logo doesn't come off. All right. Zok Gemara. Finally, so everybody holds like the other one from his Rebbe to his Rebbe to his Rebbe. Ravuna Mai. What happened? Who's Ravuna? The Omar, the Itmar. Hamoicher Peira is Dekel Chavera. If you sell the dates off your tree to your friend when it didn't grow yet in the winter time, Omar Avuna actually Bala Olam Yochel Achzer Bay. The seller, obviously the price is better later on. So the seller, when he sees that he can get a better price and the fruit didn't grow yet, he could say he wants to cancel the sale. Why? Because the sale didn't grab yet. So once it comes into the world, you can't take it back. In other words, once it comes into this world, he could take it back. But if, let's say, the Gemara says, Omar of Nachman, Moedina, the Shamit, Ve'achil, if by mistake they didn't realize, he went ahead and he grabbed some fruit off the tree, you don't take it away from him. Why? Because you have here a tos, a mechila b'tos. In other words, he thought that it's rightfully his, and therefore he's moichel. Rav do Amar Ravun Amar Rav. When I buy this thing, I'm going to sell it to you later. There's Maisa Shahaya in Eretz Yisrael. It happens often, unfortunately. A guy that I know was negotiating a real estate deal for a year. Wasted a whole year with this guy, back and forth. You know how it goes here. Finally, at the closing, he finds out that he doesn't even own it. He's just about to buy it from somebody else. That's why he's schlepping it for a year. So it works. Arisus is when you have a sharecropper, a guy that works your field, and he gets to split the peiros with you. And this guy was a nice guy. Every Friday afternoon, he would bring a gift to Rabbi Yanai. A gift, says Taisves, that must be his own. It was his own fruit. The aris, his own fruit. Ahu Yaima, it was one Friday, Nagale V'Leasa. It was getting late in the day, and the sharecropper is nowhere to be found. Shokal Asim Pere Devesi Alayu. So Rabbi Yanai, anticipating that this guy is going to show up with a basket of fruit, but it's going to be too late. He might show up on Shabbos. So Rabbi Yanai grabs some of his own fruit and says, these fruit should be meiser on the basket of fruit that my aris is going to bring me later on. Also, it's great. The Tanya. So now Rashi explains this is Davar Shalei B'La'olam. Why? Because it's not at Rabbi Yanai yet. Other Rishonim argue that maybe it wasn't cut off the tree yet. But the Gemara understands this is Davar Shalei B'La'olam. Rabbi Yanai didn't have it in front of him, yet he's taking meiser on something he doesn't have, and it works. Omar lei shaper avato. You did great. The Sanya. You should learn to fear Hashem all your days. Now, without Rashi, I wouldn't know what's flying here, but Rashi sticks in that we're talking about Oinig Shabbos. This Shalom Aleichem, Michael Ben Chitrit, all the way from Florida. There is a concept of Oinig Shabbos. Oinig Shabbos means Midoraisa, it seems like. You have to enjoy Shabbos. So what's the Torah telling us? What's the Chiddush? Yeah, enjoy Shabbos. Okay. What? Eat ice cream? Cholent? What does it mean? What's the Torah telling you? What's the Chiddush? The Chiddush is that, as the Gemara is going to explain, that you are allowed to be over the Rabbanon in order to have Oinik Shabbos. So with the Rabbanon, you're not allowed to take Trumas and Meisers on Shabbos. Why? We learned in Mesechtes Beitza, it's Mesach Yemana. You're fixing something. But if that's going to create a problem with Oinik Shabbos, it's a contradiction to your Oinik Shabbos, then you could take Trumas and Meisers on Shabbos in Yontif. Rav Bengis, he was verherring Baruch Mordechai Ezrachi when he was a Bacher, and he asked him, how do you know, where does it say that, or tell me, is Oinik Yontif, is it the Reis or the Rabbana? So Baruch Mordechai didn't know, but he told him, I do know that there's a sefer called Oinik Yontif. So Rav Bengis says, for that, I'm giving you a bracha that you should be a Rosh Shiva. You don't know a Mefurish Halacha, but you know the Lumdus and the Svarim. You should be a Rosh Shiva. He says it all the time. Yeah, you ever heard from him? No. Chiddush. And he says, he attributes that bracha from Rav Bengis, him being a Rosh Shiva. The concept of Oinik Shabbos is one that we're very familiar with. But once again, I want to remind the Olam that when you go to the store to buy things for Shabbos and Yontif, it doesn't go on the cheshbon. That's what it says. You can buy as much as you want for Shabbos, but you should have kavana. Not only have kavana, you should say. You say it with your mouth, because it might be a mitzvah d'oraisa. I'm buying all these candies, Lakewood, Shabbos, and Yontif. Some say that it's only if you don't have a cheshbon. Like you don't sit there and say, okay, I'm going to spend up to, whatever it is. The Ma'aseh about Reb Shimshon Pincus that he told his kids, this is Yedua, he told his family that the owner of the store, made a deal with him since he's a chashav rav, they could take whatever they want for Shabbos, whatever they want. So his kids always used to go in there and take candy and all the stuff and load up more than they needed. Many, many years later, they found out that the father paid for everything. It was just a trick to get their kids to splurge. For Shabbos, you splurge, no cheshbainas. What, your father-in-law does the same thing to you, Avi? What? Your what? No, your wife does it during the week. I'm talking about for Shabbos. Yeah, no cheshbainas. Huh? Suvi. Yes. What were you saying? Tell me. Nothing good. Okay. What is this pasuk coming to be mechadish? If the pasuk is coming just to say a simple idea that, you know what, midrabanan, it's also for you to take meiser, but I want you to take meiser, even though it's misakim manan, it's the rabbanan. No, you should do it. Oynik Shabbos trumps everything. It's kra lemishri tiltu the rabbanan. I need a pasuk for that. It's only the rabbanan. Daf Amud Beis, sponsored by Moshe Orn in honor of Hillel Zand, and sponsored by Anonymous in honor of myself. Elolav ki gavno. The pasuk must be saying that if you have an issue of Einik Shabbos, you could take Meiser right now and be Yaitza later on. So there's a whole need in here. You could do it during the week also. It's a special thing just for Shabbos. Okay.
You have to have das. If it's not yours, the person has to have das. You do it for them.
It's going to be yours. That's Davar Shalei B'Laylam. It's going, right now it's not. That's the Chiddush. It's not yours today, at this moment, but it's going to be, and I'm taking Meiser now on Davar Shalei B'Laylam, on something that doesn't exist. Amalei V'ha Akaryun B'Chelma. I had a dream. A riddle. Kana Ratzutz. Now, from here you see sometimes, those of us who have dreams, you learn from your side. They don't always tell you the whole thing in the dream. They give you a little riddle. Kana Ratzutz. What's a kana Ratzutz here? This is a kana. This is a reed that's like a cane. Kana Ratzutz. It's splintered. So what does that mean? You get this dream. They give you these two words. Kana Ratzutz. And now what? What do you do with it? So, there's a pasuk in Malachim. And he understood it, that it's a pasuk from Malachim. My love, Sancheriv is giving musar to Chizkiah. And he says, you are leaning on this splintered cane, meaning you're relying on Mitzrayim. No good. It's a terrible thing. It's a bad pasuk. It's a pasuk that's musar. So basically, it wasn't a good thing what you did. Not a good pshat in the pasuk. It's a kana ratzutz. So he tells him, no, there's another pasuk somewhere else. Kana ratzutz lo yishbar, upishta cheya lo yichebena. Now you have to look at the end of the pasuk. It's unbelievable how the Gemara assumes you know psukim. If I'm just going to say the beginning, you're going to know the end. The point of the pasuk is the end, not the beginning. It says in the beginning of the pasuk, kana ratzutz. Great. Lo yishbar upishta cheya lo yichebena. Le'emes yaitzi mishpat. It's emes what you said. But listen to this pasuk. It's an amazing pasuk. I once asked my father, years ago, I asked him, how are we going to know if he's really Mashiach? Like, what if some Rosh Hashiva shows up, I'm Mashiach, but I don't believe in this Rosh Hashiva. He's a Mashiach Sheker. I think, he said, no. When Mashiach comes, you're going to know. He's not going to do it. You're going to know. Everybody's going to know. It's just going to be, and this is exactly what the pasuk says. I finally saw it here in the pasuk. The pasuk is telling me, Mashiach, he's not even gonna break a kana. He's not even gonna splinter. He's not gonna do a single meifas. He's not even gonna put out a little fire. Nothing. When he comes, it's gonna be so obvious it's him. We're all gonna go with him. Unbelievable. Rebbe. How do we know Rebbe holds that Adam makne davar shloi bala olam? I could make a kinyan on something that doesn't exist. The sign. The pasuk says you should not give back a slave. Now, let's think about it. My neighbor's slave hops over the fence and comes into my house. I can't return him. I have to return him. It's my neighbor's neches. If his cow jumps over the fence, I give it back. Slave also. Why not? The pasuk is coming to say something else. Not the pashtus of the words. It's a special pasuk talking about you make a deal with the slave. You say, look, I see you're under very harsh conditions. I'm going to purchase you, and then I'm going to free you. So what's the case? When I purchase you, you are going to be free from now, retroactively. So in such a case, you have a chiyuv. Since you made a deal with him, and now it was just a way to ease him into your house, you lied to him. Look, I'm going to take you away from the horrible conditions of Pliny, like they do today in the Ramat Shemesh with the cleaning ladies, yeah? You come to me, I'll pay you $65 an hour, you're making 20 over there, I'll get everybody upset, and then once they come there, they treat them a little differently or whatever. Okay, I'm talking to the cleaning ladies, they shouldn't leave us. You know what I'm talking about? If they listen to the shir, they should know that they're not going to be treated well. Okay. I am going to purchase you. Then the Torah says, but Akopanim, you see this idea that even though I don't own you, I can make a deal with you right now. I'm making a deal that when I own you, when I purchase you, you're going to be freed from right now. I don't owe you. It's davar shaloi balayil. It works. That's Rebbe. Rebbe Meir. And now we're going up to the next generation. Rebbe Meir, this nano imerli shariat mekudeshes li lachashes gayer. We had this yesterday. You are going to be my wife after I become a ger. Right now, I can't be mekadesh. I'm a goy. Lachash is Yerie, or you will become a Yerie. Lachash shtachrer, after you become free. Lachash shtachri, you become free. Lachash yamas bailech, this guy's mean. After your husband dies, I want you to accept this ring right now today. So you should be my wife after he dies. Obviously, right now they can't get married. It won't be typhus because she's a shesish. So that's literally a davar shaloi balaylam. This we can understand well. Lachash shetamas achaysich. I am married to your sister, so I can't marry you. I can't be married to two sisters. But after your sister dies, I'll take care of it. I'll make sure it happens. Then I'm going to be married to you. And this is the case that we brought yesterday. We started off share with this case. That I want to marry you after the Yavam does chalitza to you. Right now you're not available to the market. You're Yevamos shok. But I'm giving you now Kiddushin. Doesn't work. Why does Meir hold it works? Because Adam makne davar shloi balaylam does work. Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov, the Sanya. Yeser al kein omar Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov. Afilu omar peres harugazu tlushim yu truma al peres haruga mechubarim. Yeah, you remember those days when we used to learn truma and everybody went to sleep? As soon as you mentioned the word truma, bye bye, see you later. Let me know when the sugi is over. Now it's easy. Truma. You cannot be mafresh truma on fruit that are attached to the ground. And you can't take fruit that are attached to the ground and make it truma on fruit that are detached. So if a guy says, I'm going to take the fruit from that are detached. Tlushim, you truma al peres aruga mechubarim. They should be truma on the fruit that are attached, or peres aruga mechubarim, or the reverse. I'm taking fruit that are attached, and I'm making them truma al peres zut lushim likesheviu shlish v'yitalshu. So first of all, if fruit don't have a third, they're not even fruit. So I'm waiting until it's going to be a fruit. It's going to be a shlish. It's going to be a third. And I'm also waiting until v'yitalshu, they're going to be harvested. What's the word? Chop the fruit. Picked. Okay, whatever. You don't have a better word? Okay, in Panovich they said harvested. Shkoyach. And they brought a third, and then they were harvested. Dvarav kayamin. So you see, Rebbe Eliezer Yaakov holds, didn't happen yet, and I can do it way before it happens. And finally, we brought all this for this line right over here. Rebbe Akiva. How do we know that he argues? Who was it that argued? Who pleaded the Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak? Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak argues and says that Rebbe Akiva does hold davar adam makne davar shlei b'laylam. And it would seem almost correct because we have riot generation to generation to generation. Where did Rebbe get it from? Where did Rebbe Eliezer Yaakov get it? Where did Rebbe get it from? They all got it from one source, from Rebbe Akiva l'chayr. And Rebbe Akiva is the one that says it's not that mission that we brought all in the beginning. A woman says, I'm making a neder that I won't benefit from you, that I'm not letting you use my siyadta. The husband has no concern. She can't make a neder on something she's chayiv. Since the husband gets her mitzvah, he gives her mezainis, she gives him siyadta. So how could she say, they have a deal, it's in the Kesubos. How could she make a neder against that? She can't. He could, she's not mechuyev to give him everything. Let's say she has a third job at night somewhere, so that extra money should go to her. That's going to be an area of contention. They're going to fight over it. So for that, he has the right to be mefer. Yes, right. So at the end of the day, you see that Rebbe Akiva holds he's going to make a hafara on something that's going to happen in the future, on money he wants. He has a right to it today. Bo minei mirav sheishes. Yeah, like 6 lines from where it becomes wide. Bo minei mirav sheishes. Eid echad b'Yevamos. Until now, we were learning that a single witness could come and testify to say that the husband died. I saw that he's dead, and so she could go and get married to anybody in the world. But what about by Yibum? Do we have the same halacha by Yibum? There's reason to say that it's a little different. In other words, the aide comes and says, I saw that the husband died, and therefore you're chayiv in Yibum. It's almost the same thing. Therefore, you can get married to anybody in the world, or therefore you have to marry Shimon, the brother, the Baldwin brother. Maybe the whole svara that you believe eidecha to begin with is because it's something that's going to be found out in the future. Well, we said what's the pshat if you remember? What did we say yesterday? What's the pshat? Why do we trust eidecha? Because Isha daiko mitzabo, we're talking about an aguna, so that she doesn't remain an aguna for her whole life. She's going to do her research. Now all of a sudden the Gemara comes up with a new pshat. Something that Eidechad is concerned that they're going to find out. Everybody's going to say you're a liar. Everybody's going to know, is he dead? Now he walks in 2 days later. So Taisa says, the question here is, what's the more important one? What's the bigger reason? The Gemara knew about this reason, but maybe this is the main reason. What? Right, exactly. So it's a combination of 2 things. You have the fact that he's scared. You have the fact that she's going to be very careful. The 2 things together. But what's the main point? She's an aguna, and we give her special, something that we don't have anywhere in the Torah, that Eidechad is believed, and Arai is over here we believe. Because she's going to be very careful. So sometimes she really likes her brother-in-law. If her brother-in-law is very, very different than her husband, she'll like him a lot. No, because we're going to see in a second that sometimes she hates his guts. Mamish hates him. So I'm trying to figure out what's the pshat. Sometimes, everybody's sister-in-law. Sometimes they hate you, sometimes they love you. It's never like, not my sister, they all love. Fine. Omer of Sheishes. Tinisua, we learned it. Amrullah meis b'nei here. This case from cheating. Yesterday's case, we have a couple. Reuven is married to Batayin, and they have a child together. Meis b'nei, and they testified that the son died first. So if the son died first, now Reuven doesn't have any children. And if he dies, then there's a chiyuv of Yibum. Somebody came to me after the shir and said, he can't believe it. He was learning Yevamos the whole time. He's a Talmid chacham. He says, what? Even if the kid was 20 years old and then he died and then the mother is chayiv Yibum? Yes. Even 25 years old. You know, when the father dies without children, doesn't matter if he had a child before. If he dies without children, it's a big chiddush, right? Some people are like, wow, we didn't pay attention to it. Yeah, but if there's a grandchild, there's no chiyuv yibum. Any zera, any tzetzayim, no chiyuv yibum. So, so she went ahead and she married the guy from the 5 towns. And he said, oh, we made a mistake, a little bit of a boo-boo. What happened was the husband died first. So at the time of the husband's death, there was a child alive. And at that moment, there was no chiyuv yibum. What happens later is not our concern. You're right, there's no zera and there's no shame, but there's no yibum. Mamzer. Because she had no business marrying the guy from the 5 towns, so that we said that it goes according to who? Rabbi Kiva, that says there's a mamzer from Chayv Elav. Hey Chidami, we're trying to prove whether or not a single aid has the ability to marry her off. We're going to prove from here that it's a case of a single aid. And because of the single aid, she went and she was misyabim, or she married somebody else. So you see that an aid echad is enough. Why? Because if it's a case of 2 against 2, it's 2 against 2. She got married based on the testimony of 2 Eidim that her husband is dead. Come 2 Eidim again and say, your husband is alive. So it's 2 against 2, and now she's married. Okay, we're going to Taisvis. She has a status quo. She's married to this guy. Or they're trying to explain, she really believed, she and her husband believed that the guy's dead, so we're going to take their svara over everybody else. V'oid, mamzer. You're going to call him a mamzer? Safek mamzeru. The kid is not a full-fledged mamzer. Maybe the guy's dead. Maybe the guy's alive. I don't know. It's 2 against 2. And if you're going to say when we call him a mamzer, we don't mean he's a mamzer. We mean he's a safek mamzer. Or the fact that the Mishnah differentiates between a mamzer and a non-mamzer. We're talking about a real mamzer. We see from Shomaim we're talking about that she got married based on the testimony of 1 aid. And she got married based on 1 aid. And the whole time this is here. Move it away. I forgot. Sorry, Yevamos. Usually when Seltzer is here, and then I put it over. Okay. Wow, now I can see you. Valdik. So she got married based on 1 aid. So you see that you're allowed to get married based on 1 aid. That's all we want. She got married based on 1 aid, and then 2 aidim came and said your husband's still alive. Holav hachi mehemen. Without that, you see that 1 aid is believed. Vikid amri ha leitibaylach. That an aid echad is believed to say that she's chayiv in yibum or she could get married to somebody else. That's not even a shayla. You don't need aid echad. She herself says that her husband is dead. We believe this now. We say in the Mishnah. If she herself said my husband died, she could get married. She could even do yibum without Eidim. The Mishnah Yevama la alma, to allow Yevama to go out to the world. In other words, they came in and testified that the Yavam died, or what else? They said that the Yavam died before the child, then the child died. So Mamela, she's part of her yibum. My timer, something that's going to be found out, Eidecha doesn't lie. Why do we trust Eidecha? Together with her being very careful, so we trust her. But when it comes to Yibum, she's not going to be careful. You know why? The Misnahu, the Sanyale. Now we have to see Taisus here. Don't close your Gemara yet. A sister-in-law hates her brother-in-law. So we have to first of all explain, sometimes she loves him, sometimes she hates him. Depends what kind of brother-in-law he is. But listen to this unbelievable Lashon. Take this Lashon. Don't ever forget this Lashon. Taisus kiti bayalach yivam al-alma. 6 lines down. Shigdoila sinas hasoinois me'ahavas o'ayavos. Hate is a greater force than love. Ushchiach tvei. Unfortunately, it's more common A sister-in-law hates her brother-in-law more often than she loves him. And Mela, since she hates him, she never wants to be married to this Yavam. Think about it. It's a terrible thing. If you have a brother-in-law that's mamish, a gross guy that you're in fights with him for 20 years, and all of a sudden, not only does your husband die, and it's a terrible tragedy, now you have to marry his disgusting brother. So she's going to take the testimony of that Eidecha and say, Andre, he's dead. Of course he's dead. I can marry her. She didn't look into 1 minute even. Well, he's Eidecha, and she's pretending she looked in it. She's married somebody else. So you got to be careful. Have a wonderful day. Yishkoyach to all the guests. Yishkoyach.